This time we gon' really do it, seek a better way. Gotta keep the faith, I gotta keep the faith.
Thank you, ladies and gents, for another beautiful evening. Y'all know who y'all here with. Y'all here with King George, the owner of T.Y.I Productions, the curator of Black 31 magazine. And I am here with another special guest, brother Tony Lee. Let's go. Let's go. Give it up for the brother. Give it up for the brother. Give it up for the brother. So, I met you when you came to I-Day. I-Day is a program that's formed and put together to help the youth throughout many challenges that they go through. And just meeting you and hearing your story, brother, your story is magnificent. And do you want to share with the audience some pieces from your story?
The main thing that I went through in life was homelessness at an early age, not having a lot of family around. Basically, I got adopted by a lot of people in the streets that wasn't my family, that treated me as family. And just knowing the struggle of trying to make it out here without a family, and the chances that they have someone that's kind enough to take them in and treat them like family is slim in Philadelphia. When I see the young kids out there now, I think about that, and I know a lot of people don't want to be negative, but when you're getting desperate and you're out there and alone, a lot of times you gravitate to whatever help that you get, and a lot of times the help you get is from negative people, which start putting negative traits inside of you because that's who you're looking up to.
Absolutely.
So I want to give children somebody positive to look up to, where they don't have to hear the direction of positivity coming out of a person, but then watching them do the opposite. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what helped you get out of that struggle? When you was going through them tough times, growing up in the streets, what helped you get out of that struggle?
Honestly, I can't attribute it to nothing mostly but God, because through all of my struggles in life, as a younger child, I was in church with my mom, my aunts, so I already had that as a seed planted early to believe in God and that He has the ultimate power, and to have faith in Him. You know what I mean? So just having that alone, coming up through the years, adolescence, teenager, I always had that in my heart that I can ask God for anything. Everything that's going to happen, He's not going to put too much on me that I can't stand.
Yeah.
Like my mom told me that 1,000 times early, so I already knew that all my life. Like, whatever I'm going through, I can handle it.
Absolutely.
Because it wouldn't be happening to me if I couldn't.
Yes.
So that's what persevered me to just get past a lot of things, but mostly it was the tribulations that I had to go through that actually opened up that mindset to I need to reach back and try to help the next generation.
Absolutely. Helping the youth, man. And man, it's so crazy, man. Just seeing you share your story, man, it had me, I was feeling like Jesus and Lazarus, man. I felt like I wanted to cry at that moment, bro. Seriously, man. I'm just hearing the story. I'm like, damn, man, these brothers really been through a lot. And just to still see you come to I-Day, to the program, and still want to share this to the youth, it's special, brother. It's special.
So the backstory on me coming to I-Day, my cousin of mine's, she's been working with the youth for over 15 years. Yeah. That's her career that she does this. And she's always told me this already. So, okay, backstory. When I was younger, I was in group homes or whatever. Yeah. And the different staff members that were in the group homes with me, they took to me, treated me like family. Yeah. And I just never forgot them. They instilled certain principles in me, certain discipline structure that they gave me that wasn't inside of the program, but just because they was black men, probably around the age that I am now, when I was, they had it inside of them to say, I see something in him, I'm going to instill this in him as much as I can. And so I got 2021. Yes. I'm on a train. I end up seeing one of the staff members on the train. I say, listen, I'm where we was working at, I run that. I'm the operations manager now. So get yourself together, get your associates in youth development. I'll pull you right in here. You be a staff member like how I used to be.
Wow.
So that inspired me right there. I said, listen, this is a career. I can really get in this. I ain't had no felonies, nothing. Ended up signing up for community college, youth work. Took some acting classes or whatever. However it went down, I scored so low on the placement test that they made me take a prerequisite. So I had to do a whole semester just free, no credits, which discouraged me a lot. Went into the next semester, finished that, got the credits I was supposed to have the first time, went to the summer. Next thing you know, I got the couple of the loans or whatever. Took the loans, got me a nice car, went trying to figure it out here illegally. Basically, I can attribute that to following the trade of the people that I looked up to. People that took care of me when I was homeless and gave me somewhere to live at, gave me food to eat, and gave me clothes to wear. These are the people that I gravitated to. And a lot of them told me to do different things, but this is what they were doing. And that's what I seen, so that's what I traced and I followed. How they had this many different women and how they dress, and that was who I looked up to, so I followed that out. And basically I tried to be the best that I could be at that, because that's what I looked up to. So I took the blessing that he gave me in the direction I had, because I had to go get a GED and everything to get to college. Got my GED from Temple, went to college, did a year and a half in there, and then spunked off and started dealing, you know what I mean? So basically I felt like I didn't need to do that. Since I was making that kind of money at the time, I said, I'm gonna figure out a way where I don't need to go to school and I don't need to work for nobody. But I still always had inside of me that I wanted to get back to the youth. So where I went wrong at is I tried to get back to the youth with negativity. You understand what I'm saying? Like looking out for people with the things that I was doing that I knew was wrong, thinking that the people under me was going to just do what I was doing while I'm doing it, and then when I don't do it, they won't, but it don't stop with me, you know what I mean? And basically, I'm not helping somebody if I'm giving them a way to make money that's ultimately is going to put them in jail or have them dead or shot or just strung out or whatever happened to them. It's not going to be positive, so I didn't help them because they got some temporary money for a couple of years or a couple of months, and the next thing you know, they doing 20 years or 15 years. So that took me a lot of tribulations and trials for me to go through and look out for a lot of different people for me to see how they end up. And ultimately I had to go to jail about that. You know what I mean? So I went to jail one time. This was in 2016. I went to jail for 1 and 2 years. Triple RI, I got out in about 10 months. When I was in there, I had a plan to come out here, get a CDL, ride trucks, save money, still get back to the youth, like have mobile trucks and all that I was trying to do. Came out here, started with some classes, and it seemed like basically this is where the problem came in at for me since the youth. Once I get desperate and I don't see an immediate way for me to get out of the situation I'm in, then I resort to what I think is going to get me out of the situation right then. Which is ultimately going to lead me, because I know how my personality is and how addictive it is. So if I start dealing with something and I see that it's working, it's just going to make me keep going with it. But I know what's going to happen if I keep going with it, because of one mistake and everything's gone and I'm in a worse situation than what I started out in. So that don't even add up to even go in a direction that's going to put me behind where I started. If anything go wrong, I'm human, I make mistakes. One mistake won't do that to me, I don't need to do it. So that's how I try to keep it in my mind since I've been getting arrested. I came home 2021, May 11th. Had a new mindset sitting around. So basically what changed me the most was being around lifers, talking to them, being cellmates with them. Basically seeing what situations put them in that predicament where they doing life, or they doing 15 years, or they doing 10 to 20 years, and just seeing how hollow they look and how they live. Like they don't have their soul in them no more. There's no joy in life, because they know for the next 7 to 10 years you're not going nowhere. You're gonna be living the same life in the cell, And just for a lot of them to have a conversation they had with me to say, listen, man, don't ever come back in here, man. Be with your family. What you miss most right now? What you keep saying you want to see? Your children, your mom. Don't be around nobody else when you get out. You see they ain't contacting you now? And I kept a lot of that stuff in once I got out here to basically be able to propel me to change who I was before I went in there, be somebody different. And just seeing how many of my family members and my young people that I raised just got destroyed out here in the meantime while I was sitting in jail. And that 2-year, 3-year gap, people going to jail for life. They going to jail for 13 years. And I know if I was around, if I was on the time that I was on now, I could have gave them some opportunities where as though they didn't feel like they needed to do certain things. And they might be here right now. They might not be in jail, or they might not be dead, or shot up, or out under Kensington getting high on heroin or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they might have made a different decision if they had somebody around like me that really loved them, that was going to pull them out of the direction they're going in as much as they can. Most people, they're not going to care. They're going to take care of their immediate family, and that's it.
Now I got a question about you going to, going to prison, spending time in prison. I noticed that we talked about it, you are a writer. What experience in prisons helped shape your writing, and what are you working on?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So in prison, I wrote a book of Levi, that was basically an autobiography of my life. So the time when I was in there, it gave me that concentration time to be able to focus on, and the reflection time to look at so many different angles of my life from the past. Seeing if I didn't do this a certain way, what might happen. So I started with the Book of Levi. Started from my age of 6 up until about 37.
Dang.
I had it down. So I had 25 chapters inside of the book, which actually brought me to the end. I kept it pretty brief for each chapter, but it actually caught each year of my life just a little bit, you know what I mean? And then I also had half of Testimonies of Injustice done. So that was a book based on people that went to jail, and the system's rules were basically bent for them to go to jail. Or the way that the system was supposed to run, it didn't run that way, and they're being negatively affected by it. So these were 10 different people that I interviewed in jail, their situation, how the laws were bent around because of their record, because of their ethnic, or because of where they were arrested at. You understand what I'm saying? Mostly. And basically the laws that the United States of America are to abide by were bent on an angle so that they could be convicted of the crime. And it was deep, it was good. So what happened with my books, COVID broke out in the middle of everything. I switched jails. They took my stuff. They said they were going to travel with me, threw all of my books in the trash, my pictures, everything, all my mail. Everything was supposed to be contaminated. And since then, since I've been home, my concentration on that has been so low. But when I see people like you and a couple of Keenan Hudson, and, you know what I mean, different people, it's been really inspiring me to really finish what I started. I also do some poetry.
We definitely gonna get into some poetry on this interview. We definitely gonna get into some poetry. Now, it's so crazy, man. That's very inspiring, man. I wrote 2 books myself, but also one person that I would love to connect you with, because this brother spent 10 years in prison also too. So you might want to check out Jimmy the Saint. He did about 30 novels, but it'll also help inspire you to start writing your novel. You got me? Get back writing your novel, because you had your novel done already, and it's very inspiring. His story is inspiring. How were you able, when you came out of jail, right? How were you able to adjust to the new life out on the streets?
That's a good question. Okay, so first of all, once again, I gotta attribute everything to God first, because just the preparation that He gave me before I even came home in jail prepared me for coming home from jail. And I feel as though if I would have let that connection break in between me coming home and trying to get through the struggle of the road, I would never made it anyway.
Yes.
So I only made it because of the prayer life that I developed from being in jail.
Yes.
And the people, and then the next attribute goes to the people around me that were strong. My cousin Devin, my mom, a lot of my friends that just stuck in there with me relentlessly, regardless of my situation, regardless of how broke I was, how annoying it was to be there for me. They still was there. They didn't leave, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's what gave me that extra stability to be able to not go backwards and be strong enough to say, you know what, I can take this little bit of help I'm getting right now, but I don't got to resort to going backwards, because I know if I get on the horse and the horse take off, I can't just jump off. You know what I mean? You won't have to hold on.
True. That's
Because
true.
we moving too fast now. So at the end of the day, if I know this, I'm not getting back on that horse no more.
Yeah.
And plus, I know behind me getting on the horse, I'm leading the people that look up to me to get on the next horse too, which is going to indirectly be my sons. I got a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, and I got a 5-year-old son. So I got 3 sons. For me to even think about jumping back on that is basically saying that I'm gonna jump them right behind me.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to listen to what I'm saying. They're going to watch what I'm doing. They're going to repeat it. Like
That part. Oh,
so.
Yes.
Basically, this is the struggle, the main struggle of why I say I can't look backwards and do the same things I've been doing for the last 20, 25 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's about advancing the next generation and most importantly advancing yourself. So it's like you're growing, man. Growth. Everybody has growth, man. Everybody go through their periods where they have to grow. I've been through it. You know, you've been through it. I really appreciate you coming here, brother. I want to know, you know, what's so crazy, because I want to know more. I want to tap in more into your story. Prison. What was prison? How were you treated in prison? How was the other brothers that you was with treated in prison?
First of all, before I was even convicted, I was treated like I was convicted. You understand what I'm saying?
Speak on it. Speak on it.
Being as though I was out on one bail. My bail specifications was that I don't get arrested again, or I violate the bail. Now, just because of those rules doesn't stop me from getting a bail on a new crime. If I catch a new crime, I still didn't get found guilty on the original crime, and I still am entitled to another bail, even though it might be higher now. Because this is another open crime, but I didn't get convicted of any crimes, so I should be allowed bail on the crime.
Absolutely.
I watched that rule be bent in my face like 50 times,
Wow.
where they made a way where we're either going to make it, because bail is supposed to be in your status. They're supposed to look at your status and what you make, and they're supposed to give you a reasonable bail for your number. But they basically found a way to bend their rule to say, we're going to make your bail high enough where you can't pay it. And it was also doing things like falsifying court dates and basically giving you a court date and a subpoena in your hand telling you to go to court on one day and then put it in the system a different way. And when you show up on that day, you get arrested for failure to appear.
It don't matter.
Now when the failure appears in the system, they say no, we're gonna straighten it out. But then when they get you in the jail, nothing gets straightened out. Your bail just gets revoked, and now they saying, well, you gotta go to trial to get out now. Now you go to trial and you get speed through that, and you can't afford a lawyer, and now you're getting convicted of a crime that you really was never supposed to be convicted of by law.
Wow.
And doing the time for it. And basically, if you don't have no money, then you gotta fall under the umbrella, just suffering it out until it's over and not putting yourself in that situation no more. Like,
Wow. Corruption in the system.
so my personal situation, I had 2 open cases. I caught a 3rd open case, and my court date was set for after I was arrested in July. I was arrested June 21st. My next court date was July 19th. I told the county that I was in that I had a court date coming up since I got in the building. I got a court date. I got an open case over there. I got to be there July 19th. Oh, don't worry about it. They're going to come get you. The day of, I banged on the gate, called the guard, let them know, listen, I have a court date in Lackawanna County this morning. We'll let you know.
They ain't care.
Failing to appear guilty in absence. So I ended up with a bench warrant for a case that I couldn't have possibly went to court on because I was in custody already. And they held this bench warrant on me for a whole year. They wouldn't give me no bail.
Wow.
Because they know that I paid 2 bails already. So they said, you're not paying a 3rd bail. We're going to make a way where you can't pay this 3rd bail because now it's a failure to appear. And you got to go in front of a certain judge to get your warrant lifted.
Wow.
We don't have time for that.
Wow. So
now it's COVID and we definitely ain't got time for that. So now you're going to sit here on this warrant.
Wow. Wow. So basically they made you spend that time in prison.
As if I got found guilty of a crime already. And I was convicted, but I was still fighting a charge, not a conviction.
Right. Wow.
So this has happened to a lot of people in Philadelphia, all around, through PA, in the States, period. And not to say that some of these people are not committing the crimes that they're being charged with, but by the court of law and by the civilization that we're running, it's a due process to that.
Yes.
And the process is not for you to have to suffer for conviction of a crime before you get convicted of it.
Yes. Wow. Wow. Wow.
So then the same issue became an issue in jail when it was time for me to go to parole. I got approved parole. And because of the same situation, my parole was rescinded. They took my parole back and said, you got an open warrant in Lackawanna County. I said, I was never supposed to have a warrant there because I was in jail when it was time for me to go to court there. They said, well, we got to straighten that out first. Cancel my parole, made me see parole again 6 months later.
Wow.
Which is enough to drive somebody crazy if you're thinking that you're about to meet your family. So psychologically, while I was in there, it was already COVID, 23-1. No yard, no programs, no going to the cafeteria, no nothing. Come out yourself for a half hour a day, go to the phone, shower, exercise as much as you can indoors, and back into yourself for another 23 hours. You know what I mean? Every day.
Wow.
That was like that for majority of my time there for two years and 3 months.
Damn, man. I know that's a crazy institutionalized feeling, man, to be. It's like you locked in the cage, literally.
No intimacy, all men, high testosterone, everybody's angry. And that's the kind of condition that they pile you in just to make sure that the ones that can't control themselves, they're going to clash in, possibly pull somebody else in, you'll all be here longer.
Wow. Wow.
It's a program.
Wow. Yeah. Illegal programs in the United States. And these many things that we got to touch bases on, man, because our brothers, man, just being a black man in America, we go through so much within the political system. They keep us tied down. Basically, they keep us tied down to the system. We need to grow as men. We need to be out of the cages. We need to be spreading our words. We need to be with our families. We need to be doing everything that we can to be the best that we can be. As long as we tied into them cages, our minds can't grow past that. You know what I mean? And I see when a lot of brothers, they go to prison, they may go there for a long time, and then when they come out, they still have the same mentality that they had like 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
Arrested development, they call it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But just knowing that when I could see a brother that came home and it's like his mind was still growing, and still growing now. I respect that, brother. I respect that about you.
And I attribute that to God because that was me inside of jail, having to be mentally strong enough to see all these Muslim brothers around me, throwing me literature, and I'm reading the literature they're giving me.
Yeah,
I'm accepting all literature information.
Absolutely.
That's not going to change my religion. And even if I even had a thought process where I was going to change, it's not going to happen while I'm in here until I get out of here.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the literature.
Yes.
Because all the literature related to my religion anyway.
Yes.
In all reality, the same principles, like.
Yeah.
And I've always been able to extract that kind of information from out of something without just totally blindly following
Yes.
the complete program of it. I
Yes.
could see where the instructions are in there for me, or why this brother was right next door to me to be able to send these papers over to me for me to read them over.
Yes.
Even though I don't know Arabic, but it's in English.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I'm not Muslim, I'm Christian, but I can still read these and gather the principles out of it and be smart enough and strong enough to say, I'm not going to go and worship with y'all on Fridays and get a special meal. Because then I got to go to church, and then I got to be strong enough to go to church with the child molesters and the rapists and everybody else. And then I still got 10 sturdy men like me that's none of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They really got enough faith in God to say, you know what? It's not no walk of shame.
Absolutely.
It's not no walk of shame for me. Because I
Absolutely.
believe in God. And just because you believe something different than me, then that's what it is. But I'm not against you personally.
Absolutely.
But you're not going to change my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So I never wavered in there. And I feel like on the strength of that, that's why he blessed me with another chance at being mentally stable. Everybody's not mentally stable.
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother.
Mhm.
Absolutely, man. Respect that about you. While you was institutionalized, I want to know, what books have you read? Do you have a certain book that really inspired you in prison?
Yeah, it was a T.D. Jakes book that I read every day. It had like daily prayers.
Okay.
I forget the name of it though. I really do. I read so many books in there. I stayed away from all of the hood books and all. It was mostly scriptures and documentaries.
Documentaries. Okay. Leadership wise, top 3 leaders of all time to you who inspired you in your life.
So I would have to say Malcolm X because I see Elijah Muhammad right there. So I say Malcolm X, and I say that because from watching the movie when I was younger, I mean, just seeing his story and his backstory, and like, you know, and I relate to it so much because I can see how the transformation happened to him once he went to jail and seen real life, and then came back home as a grown man from being a child for so many years, and then breaking those chains in his mind, and then seeing the influencers around him and seeing, but being strong enough to go against the grain of the regular, you know what I mean? And
Brother Malcolm, love you, Brother Malcolm. We really do. We really do. Seriously.
number 2, see, and then it wouldn't even be a famous person next.
I understand.
Because then the next person in my life personally that was a strong leader was rest in peace, my uncle Ed, Edward Odom.
Okay.
So that was like the strongest leader, one of the strongest leaders in my life that I know personally, that really took to me, adopted me into their family, and I just seen the power in him, like just how many different people he was teaching life to, you know what I mean, along with me, you know what I mean, and then the skills that he gave us, and it was just like all of these different things that he put into my character, just taken into me. I definitely have him as one of the strongest leaders. And the last one would have to be
Rest in peace. Rest in peace,
Uncle Ed. The last one would have to be my Uncle Pike.
Respect.
So that's Brother Kenneth. So bottom line, I put him as the strongest leader because ever since I was younger, 18, 19 years old, I always looked up to him. He always showed me love. He showed me how to have a heart, you know what I mean, for people that were less fortunate than him, you know what I mean, but still be respectable and be sturdy, you know what I mean, and I attribute a lot of my change to him personally because in the mix when I was younger, getting locked up repeatedly, open cases, he would tell me, listen, if you can't do the wrong thing right, just do the right thing. Try to do the right thing. If you can't do this right, you out on bail. You can't go a whole year without getting locked up. So why don't you try to do the right thing? And he's the one that got me to get a GED and start going to college the first time. You know what I mean? And not only that, as the years went on, he wasn't only the person that was just telling me something, he was showing me through how he was living that it was possible to make that change. You know what I mean? So as I started seeing him change and seeing him live it, plus him motivating me to change, it was really changed me.
Absolutely. Oh, see? Shout out to Unc.
Yeah,
Cause that's real. That's real. That's very real. Let's get into your artwork, brother. And because to be honest with you, we knew this part of the show was coming up, and we are getting into your artwork. Honestly, brother, I'm gonna just straight say it like this: we want to hear some poetry from you, brother. We want to hear some poetry from you, brother.
But a lot of my art is coming into from teaching. You know what I mean? Like I put my art as
Respect.
me speaking and teaching to my younger generation, helping them learn certain things that I knew it was hard for me to catch on to. So my biggest art is the building the bikes right now. That's what I'm taking my time, and I'm figuring out each piece intricately, so I know anything come across the bikes, I can teach it to them, and they can know. I can give it to them in a way that they can understand. That's the hardest part about why I'm calling it art, because just because you had the knowledge of something doesn't mean you're going to be able to transfer it to somebody that is incompatible to your thinking process. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
So for me to be able to go to a different generation and adapt to their way of learning and still teaching the same thing that you know well, but you can't transfer it.
Yes.
You have it for you. So that's the art, to be able to take that knowledge and transfer it to, and sometimes you're transferring it to minds that don't want to hear it.
Absolutely.
And still be able to make it fun enough for them to be intrigued enough to get into it. That's the art of it.
Yes, absolutely. We got something special coming up. Brother Tony Lee gonna give us a special poem. Let's do it. Let's hear it.
So I'm ready for the poem now, and it's called A Thirst for More. So I was telling you that I made this poem back April 7th, 2023. So that's when I finished the poem. It has a lot of different pieces to my life, and it's all intertwined together. And it's a strong message if you can think and dig into it. Thirst for more. I thirst to be more like you. I thirst to be true. I thirst to step out of the darkness, let the sun shine through. I thirst to reach a telepathic level to better speak to you. I thirst to do what I'm supposed to do. I thirst to hear your word. I thirst to believe in your word. I thirst that through my walk, your word will be heard. I thirst that for the love of my family and friends. As long as I'm with you, I know I will win. My Lord, my thirst quencher, will quench all of my thirst. I thirst to be one with my Lord. So as I was saying to you, the poem, it basically it touched into a lot of places I was going, where I was at that time. And not to say I was in a darker place, but I was in a stagnant place at that time. But I knew I could get the energy that I needed from my Lord. And I was directed from my mom to come to my Lord, ask for whatever I wanted. So I took that and I said, listen, she says, nothing too big that you can't ask him for. So whatever you feel like you want, speak to God and ask him for it. And I said, okay. So I started doing, asking.
I respect it so much. When I heard that poem, honestly, man, I felt like Barry Gordy, man, on the movie, man, when I was listening to that poem. And you know when Temptations did their first song, and he asked him, he said, what did he say? He said, well, do you like it? He said, no. He said, I loved it. I loved it. You get what I'm saying? Like, I loved it, because it's so, that poem is very deep. And to be able to ask God to quench your thirst, like you're thirsting for the knowledge from God, I respect it, man. That gave me chills, seriously, man. That gave me chills, man. I respect it.
And I had to realize, once you really sincerely ask him for it and pursue it, he start giving it to you. And he throw it at you, then he becomes funny. And then you can have like a funny relationship with God where he can really make you laugh, and it gets good.
Absolutely. I remember something very, very special that it's crazy that you say that, because God gave me so many signs with this number 31. This number 31 was so significant for me, not just only because it represents champion, but it also started popping up in a lot of different things that was connecting me and my fiance. Like literally, it was connecting us in so much of a way where, like she showed me an old picture of her, one of her first poetry events. Maybe it wasn't her first, but it was one of her first live poetry events. She did poetry, and she had a number that said 31 on it. And I said, you know what? I said, this is amazing. So then he did it again for me. She, one week, we had a poetry event together. So the very next week, she's like, hey, I'm going to the Apollo. I was like, well, hey, I can't make it, whatever. She like, no problem, I'm gonna go. You know, she stands in line, you know, wait for the Apollo. They give her another number, which is 31 again. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, it has to be a godly connection. This has to be nothing but God.
And my number is 11.
Wow.
And I have the connection with the 11. It's a crazy connection. Fours, the 4 fours, which is my number, 267 444 4862.
Yes.
The 4s everywhere, and then the 11.
Wow, man.
211 711. Birthdays.
That's love. That's love. That's nothing but a spiritual connection, brother. Yo, man, this interview was amazing, very, very spiritual. But before we even wrap up, motivation for these young brothers that's going through what they're going through right now. What's everything that you want to say to these young brothers to help uplift them, to help bring them out of what you once been through? What's everything that you got to say to them?
First thing I want to say to all my young brothers, believe in God. That's the first and foremost, top of the line. Because without that, you just lost. You lost without God, without direction of the Maker. So I don't want to classify it and try to discriminate on anybody's religion, but whatever God you believe in God, speak to God, have a relationship with Him, and ask Him for knowledge and ask Him for wisdom, and He will give it to you. That's the first thing first. Next, I want to say, if anybody that is watching, if you're in the Philadelphia area, if you're having a mental problem, mental breakdown with life, or you feel like you just need to reach out to talk to someone that might understand you, I'll be here. My Instagram is open and public. My number is 267-444-4862. My email address is leimleah.1070@gmail. And I'm here for whoever I can be here for at this time that's around me that I can reach out to. If you need a bike's repaired, if you have a bike and it needs to be repaired, contact me. I'll try my best to get to you, to come in and bring the tools to help you repair your bikes, or I'll take your bike from you and I'll repair it and bring it back to you. I want to start a program up now where you can give me a bike that needs repair and I'll give you a repair bike and give that to someone else that needs it. Or like I said, I'll come to you and help you repair your bikes. But I want to start you youngins to getting off the couch, off the game, brain moving, blood moving, circulating. We got to get out the house. So that's the first thing I want to get to you. I want to give the bikes away so we can get out the house. Then I want to come together with you and I want to go places. I want to go to the trails and go to Fairmount Park so we can start having trainings and doing sports trainings together and just opening up the minds of the youth, getting them receptive to the people that are here for them. Let them see that it's not all about us. We do care. Even if it's not going to financially benefit us, we can still be there and put some kind of hours in, a few days a week for the youth. And I want to, anybody that is struggling, that feel like they're in a hopeless situation or in a dead end, just know whatever you're going through, if God put it into your situation, then He can make you out of it, if you have faith in God. So just try to have faith. Try to push through the situation that you're going through. And I'll also be offering CDL training for 18 or older teenagers. So anyone that's looking to get a CDL or make that their career, you can contact me on Instagram, and whatever I can do to help you in that direction, I will.
So much. Listen, this was one of the realest interviews. You ain't never hear no one drop their social and then drop their number, so you know this brother is ready to help the youth. But before we even go, tell them one more time where the people can find you at.
My IG's Tony Lee 5917 at IG. My Facebook, Tony Lee, and my phone number 267-444-4862. Black 31 Magazine. I'm here, and I appreciate this visit. This was a very good interview. This is one of my best interviews I ever had in my life. Get with me. I'm here.
You better know it. Let's go. We always appreciate good brothers for coming out. Yo, we are coming with another plethora each week of new interviews. We just finished up with Tony Lee. When I tell you, appreciate you, brother, so much. Y'all know where y'all can find me at. Instagram, Black31 Magazine. Website, T.Y.I Productions.com. Facebook, T.Y.I Productions. We T.Y.I Productions all over the board. But y'all already know, T.Y.I Productions, Black31 Magazine, we all one entity as one. Peace and love. You know, you have to elevate your mental to a different plateau so people can understand and feel the words coming from deep within. This is deep rooted, it come from the soul. Yeah, and y'all already know. Reality.